Hi everyone, so I'm Jacky. I was one of the future leaders in 2013. What I will do today is I'll give you a little bit of an idea of what the 2013 Future Leaders program looked like. It was very different to what this year's program will look like, but I think it's interesting to have a bit of an idea of how things have evolved since then. I want to give you a bit of an idea of what I found most beneficial about being a part of the program, and I also want to talk a little bit about some of the things that I've done since being part of Future Leaders. So first things first, I'll tell you a little bit about me. I'm a registered psychologist. My background in terms of employment has mostly been working in psychology. At the moment, I'm also doing my PhD full-time through the Autism CRC, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later on. I'm obviously autistic, and I like to think of myself as being a bit of an autism advocate and a bit of an activist in the community as well. And all of that has pretty much happened since the Future Leaders program. So to tell you a bit about my experience of Future Leaders, I was part of the Future Leaders program in 2013. So that's been 5 years now. The 2013 program was organised around the APAC conference, the Asia Pacific Autism Conference, which was held in Adelaide. And it was mostly designed as a program to help autistic people access the conference and to be able to attend that conference when we might otherwise not have been able to, and also to help us be able to participate in the conference in a meaningful way. So what that involved was a number of different things. We were given a lot of assistance in terms of the practicalities of attending the conference, things like help with organising flights, having accommodation organised for us, all of those sorts of things. There was also a Facebook group that was developed prior to the conference, and all of the future leaders were part of this Facebook group. And that was a really helpful way for us to sort of meet each other online before meeting each other in person, and to ask any questions that we had about what the conference might be like, and just generally to share experiences of what it's like to be autistic and all of those sorts of things. Then during the conference itself, there was also a lot of assistance in terms of accessibility for the conference. So things like there were designated seating areas where the future leaders could sit if they wanted to. Everything was voluntary. There was a designated area where we could all eat together that was quiet and out of the way. There were there was a quiet space where we could go if we needed a bit of time to chill out. And there were breakout sessions specifically for the future leaders, where we covered topics that weren't necessarily part of the main conference program, and we also got the opportunity to meet and talk to a few of the really, I guess, established autistic leaders who were doing keynote presentations at that APAC conference, and that was really an amazing opportunity. We had the chance to sit down and talk to people like Ari Neiman, John Elder-Roberson and Stephen Shaw, who you might know are really big names in autism advocacy. And so it was really great to just be able to hear about their experiences and to get some tips from them on how to, I guess, be successful as autistic people. Another part of our Future Leaders program in 2013 was a mentoring program, or a mentoring aspect to the program. So as well as about 25 young autistic adults who were the actual future leaders, the 2013 program also had about half a dozen slightly older autistic adults who acted as the mentors to the younger participants. And that basically involved a lot of sharing of their own experiences and giving advice and being there to support the future leaders participants through the conference and also through ongoing mentoring both before and after the conference. And that was really, really useful, I think, to have people who had lived an autistic life and managed to be successful and to be happy and to get tips from them about how to do that, really. Another thing that I think was really important about the Future Leaders program was the idea of autistic space. So for me, the Future Leaders program was the first time that I had been exposed to autistic space. And when I say autistic space, what I mean is a space where autistic people are the majority and where autistic ways of communicating and autistic ways of behaving are the norm. So instead of feeling like you're the odd one out, you're the part of the majority, and the non-autistic people are the odd ones out. And that's something that if you haven't been in that kind of environment before, it can be really, really powerful to know that you can just communicate however makes sense to you and other people are going to get it, or that they're not going to judge you. And to be able to do things like stimming or, even to have a meltdown and know that people are going to understand exactly what that is and what's going on for you. That is all really powerful. And I think that's a really, really big benefit of something like Future Leaders, is having that experience of being in autistic space. Because it's really quite empowering in terms of helping you to accept your autistic identity and to be comfortable with being autistic. So that's a bit about what Future Leaders actually was when I did it. A few of the things that I found most beneficial about doing the Future Leaders program. First and foremost, meeting other autistic people, I think, was a really big deal for me. At the time that I did the Future Leaders program, I'd only recently been identified as being autistic. I didn't know a whole lot about what it meant to be autistic, and I didn't really know any other autistic people. So for me to be in a group of other autistic people, other young autistic adults, and people who all sort of had the same goals in terms of wanting to develop leadership skills and wanting to be able to contribute to the community. That was really, really, really beneficial for me. And I still keep in contact with quite a few of the people who I met through the Future Leaders program. So, we didn't just meet each other, but we did actually develop friendships and developed ongoing relationships through that program. And also the mentors. Some of those mentors are people that I still look up to now, who I still have sort of, I guess, a mentoring relationship with, even ongoing, and people who I still like to work with when I get the opportunity to in the advocacy space. And that leads me into one of the other benefits that I got out of the program, which was learning about advocacy opportunities. So as I said, I didn't know a whole lot about the autistic community when I went into the program, and I didn't really even know that autism advocacy was a thing, let alone how to do it or how to get involved in it or anything like that. So it was really eye-opening for me to learn about all the autism advocacy that's happening in the world and that has been happening for such a long time. And it was really inspiring for me, and it made me really want to get into that advocacy space. So particularly for me, I think meeting Ari Neiman, who is the now ex, but he was the head of the Autistic Self-Advocacy Network in the US, and has been a real force to be reckoned with in terms of autistic advocacy. That was really inspiring for me. And so, it really prompted me to get involved more in autism advocacy to see where maybe I could make a difference, make a contribution. And I guess leading on from that was the opportunities that I had as a result of the Future Leaders program to then go out and get involved in those sorts of things. And where that came from was being able to network with people who were involved in the Future Leaders program, either as participants or as people who were organising the program, and develop those opportunities to get involved in advocacy type work. So for me, I met people through the program who were able to offer me opportunities to get involved in some of the work that I've done since the program. And if it wasn't for the Future Leaders program and for those opportunities to meet and network with those people, I definitely wouldn't be where I am today. So to talk a bit about some of the things that I have been able to achieve since the Future Leaders program. Probably the biggest thing that I've been able to do since the program is to start my PhD. And I'm actually almost finished my PhD now. It's been a 3-year labour of love, but that is something that definitely would not have happened if it hadn't been for the Future Leaders program. Partly because I didn't realise how interested I was in the autism space, so it never would have occurred to me to do something like a PhD in the field, and partly because I wouldn't have had the opportunity to be able to do a PhD if it wasn't for meeting some of the staff from the Autism CRC who gave me the opportunity to get the PhD scholarship through the CRC and to be able to actually, in a practical sense, make the PhD happen. So for me, that has completely changed my whole career trajectory. I never imagined that I would have a career in the autism space. I never imagined that I would do any sort of work in the field of autism. But I guess the passion that I developed through the Future Leaders program then prompted me to go on and do the PhD. So that's a massive impact that the program has had on my life. A couple of advocacy opportunities that have come out of the program as well. Again, through the Autism CRC, I'm on one of the Autism CRC's committees, the Biobank Access Committee, and that was actually the first opportunity that I got after the Future Leaders program to get involved in advocacy. I was lucky enough to keep in contact with Judy Brewer, who was involved in developing the original Future Leaders program in 2013. So after the program, she actually contacted me and offered me the opportunity to be involved on this committee. And obviously, if I hadn't had the chance to meet her through the Future Leaders program and to let her know I was interested in getting involved in advocacy, then that would have never happened. So yeah, that's a great opportunity that came out of the program. Also for me, I'm currently on the executive committee of the Autistic Self-Advocacy Network of Australia and New Zealand. And that's another opportunity that definitely came out of the Future Leaders program, because through my involvement in the program, I actually got to meet the existing members of the committee, including the chair of the committee, Catherine Ania, and got to know her a little bit, got to develop a bit of a friendship with her. And if it wasn't for networking with the people who were already on the committee, it never would have occurred to me to nominate myself to join the committee. I never would have had the confidence or the self-belief to think that maybe I could contribute to the committee. But I guess I took a chance, I nominated myself, and I ended up being successful. And now I'm in my second term on that committee, and I get to work with amazing autistic advocates who I really look up to and who I've learned a lot from. And yeah, those are relationships that developed during the Future Leaders program in 2013. As well as that, I've been able to sort of put myself out there and do things like conference presentations at some of the autism conferences in Australia. And I've actually, in the last year or so, I've actually even found myself getting invited to go and speak at conferences as a keynote speaker. And that's something that I would have never believed that I was sort of capable of doing. And I would have never felt like I was the right person to do that kind of thing, I suppose, if it wasn't for all of the learning and all of the skills that I developed as a result of being in the Future Leaders program. So that is another benefit of doing the program. So for me, it really, I guess you could say it really changed my life overall, because I'm now on a totally different track in terms of my career. I'm on a totally different track in terms of my contributions to the autism community and the autistic community. And I guess my focus in life is a lot different than it was before I went into the Future Leaders program. So for me, it had a really massive impact doing the program. It might not necessarily be the case for everyone who does the program. You know, it's not necessarily going to change your whole life and change your career course and all of those sorts of things. But, you know, as I said, I still keep contact with quite a few of the people who were in the Future Leaders program when I did it. And I haven't met anybody after the program who has said that they didn't get at least something out of it. So it's definitely a beneficial thing to do, whether it changes your life the way that it did for me, or whether it just changes maybe one or two little things that you do. I think you're definitely still going to get something out of it.